Bubbly, thanks for coming on. It's taken us, I want to say 2 months to finally get you to the table. Firstly, shout out to Brand X and to yourself for giving me this awesome T-shirt. I love it, bro. And you give me a really cool idea for the logo. It's gangster, oversized. Got my cap on. I'm feeling fresh. I'll be honest. I feel good.
It looks good on you.
Thanks, man. Hey, also, due to the fact that we bearing gifts, I had a request today, guys. I asked Bubbly, hey, bro, listen, what do you want? What do you want to drink? You need any food? Coffee, tea? And it's the first person to ever ask me for orange juice. So here we are. Treat yourself, my man.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, bro.
Hook yourself up. Lacking that vitamin C I've seen, so we'll sort you out. At Afur.
That's amazing.
From your voice to our ears. Cheers.
Thank you so much for this.
It's a pleasure.
I know it's weird, and I know that everybody's like more into coffee, but I don't feel coffee most of the time.
Really?
At all.
Oh, you
I'm
feel
more
like
of a juice person.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't drink coffee?
Like I do, but very rarely. Thank you so much. So very rarely. But my good to go in the morning is not coffee, is usually juice. So
interesting.
Orange is one of my favorite juices.
Okay.
Watermelon is second or first. It's always like this. But thank you for.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. I never drink orange juice, so I can't even tell you if this is good. If it's not, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sip on the protein shake rather than get some protein in you. Bro,
I have a very good treatment here.
Exactly. You got the trifecta. You got the trifecta, man.
Yeah.
So, bro, let's start with humble beginnings. Where you from originally?
Yeah. So I'm Cairo,
Okay.
Egypt. Call me Sea Town boy, which is Cairo. Yet, funny fact, I didn't live most of my childhood in Cairo. So I used to live in another city. It's called Ismailia. So it's my dad is in the military, so we used to live in a military compound there, and it has a lot of impact in my life during this period. And Ismailia is where I lived my childhood.
Okay, and just let's talk geographically at the moment. Like this city, is it on the edge of Cairo? Is it outside, or is it? Because Egypt's massive.
It's massive.
From what I understand. I mean, it's quite a big country. Coastline area.
So it's near to the Suez Canal. So it's like 3 hours drive from Cairo. It's another city completely. Like 3 hours away, and you would be in Ismailia. So it's like a small city, famous for their football club. So they have a very good football club there. They called them the Brazil of Egypt.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
So
okay.
It was funny time, and it's when I was there, like during the 90s, it was the prime for this club. So it's big thing. Second famous thing is mango. So if you want to eat mango, is just you go to Ismailia. Yeah.
Dude, that's one of my favorite fruits.
So
Legit. Honestly, I love it. I love it, man.
I remember we used to have a mango tree in our house, and that senses when you just remember, you want to eat mango, you just like go outside, pick a mango, wash it, eat it. It just feels weird, So it's a good memory.
Okay, great. So that's where you lived most of your childhood?
Yeah.
All right. And did you go to school there?
So I did go to school there. So I was there till I'm 15, if I can recall. And then I moved to Cairo. So there I went to like kindergarten and then like school and everything.
Okay. And university as well? Studied in Egypt?
So I studied in Egypt. I went to Cairo later. And it was like the complete shock because Ismailia is very, very quiet place. And surprisingly, I'm a very quiet person.
Okay.
So it felt like it's a good match. But then you go to Cairo and it's crazy. So I go to Cairo. I went to school there, of course, like the high school, which was very tough. But luckily, because I was in sports, because of I've been raised in Ismailia, which is everything around was a sports. So then I used to play like football and like, you get away from the bullying, if we can say it that way.
Okay.
So you just like you play football and things were fine. Then I went to uni and
So football was your go-to from a young
it was-
age.
yeah.
That was the sport to play.
That was the passion.
Okay.
That was the passion.
All right.
And I used to play in the club in Ismailia. And then when I moved to Cairo, things are very hard. Like, it's very hard to make yourself visible, I would say, in a big city. Doesn't matter where, but it's very hard. So I started so the biggest two clubs in Cairo is Al Ahli. Maybe you heard about like Ahli or Zamalek. So this is like the biggest two clubs. I used to for a while play for Ma'oulin, it was also a good club at that time, but then I just stopped. It was treatment thing with the coach,
Politics.
just I was like, you know what, I just don't need it. I don't want to do this effort anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Talking about a big city, I have the same, I almost want to say like relative feel, because I went to school in a farm town, so it was like in the valleys of wine country, and then moving from there to go to like work in the Cape Town CBD it's a change, man. It's a change, because you go from being able to walk everywhere, and if I wanted to go from my school to the grocery mart, it's walking distance, or you take a bicycle, or even walking 2 or 3 kilometers was nothing. It was like, oh, it's just down the road. Like, where we go? No, we're going to go to the rugby pitch. Oh, it's down the road. In the city, it was like bumper to bumper traffic. If you didn't get onto the highway by 5:30 in the morning, you're not getting to work by like 9.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And then high-rise buildings, coffee shops and bakeries everywhere. Like I'll never forget, like the first time I was working in the CBD, there's this bakery store I just couldn't get away from, because you'd walk past it every morning at like 7:30 and you could smell the croissants down the road. It was addictive. You walk, it's like, oh man, and you had to, from the like what do you call it, the parking area that we would park to, like 2 blocks down from work. So you had no choice but to walk past this damn bakery. Oh man, it was brutal. But I mean, I think the one thing the big city does build, and that's character.
Yeah.
You like you say, you become a little bit more thick-skinned. It's like a make or break situation. You're either going to push yourself back and decide, you know what, I've had enough of this. I rather want to move back home, somewhere that's more simple, or you build that character, and it allows you to actually, I almost want to say, like propel yourself more forward. And if it's not in that city, it could be leaving that city and going to a bigger city or another CBD of that same type of caliber.
Yeah, totally agree with you on this. And I remember like living in a smaller cities, or like somewhere which is much more quiet than a big city. I remember myself, I've been always that neat guy, like a tie, going to school, clean shoe, also military. So like I was in that path. Then I go to Cairo, and it's like, it's tougher. You know what I mean? And this is what I learned. Like you really need to adapt. Like it's a good thing for a kid to get exposed somehow to build the character. And I think it helped me a lot. And I remember like few cases, you go to the class, you're the new guy in the class, and you look like, oh my God, you just, his hair is on the side, just having the tie, like, what are you doing here? And then I remember like being rejected to sit beside someone who's like, no, don't sit beside me. You know what I mean? So you're not the cool boy.
Okay.
So this also builds the character, but sometimes it can break you. So, it's a thin line, but it's something that I think everybody should be exposed, because even if you're not exposed at this age, you might get exposed to this later in life. So I go there, and luckily I used to play sport, and I used to be good at it. Like, I used to play every kind of sports, and we might be talking about like my life. What did I do exactly when I used to live in Ismailia? But when I went to Cairo, it's like, yo, I had skills, you know, I can show you my skills, guys. Like I can do this. So then he's like, okay, so he can fit in, you know, like this kind of thing. And yeah. And
You hit such a nice little point there, and that is, it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like sport, actually, that was your in, because essentially, without sport, that community and that fundamental like knowledge from the opposing people, they didn't notice you or even gave you the time of day until you kicked that football or jumped over that hurdle, or you know what I mean. And this is the most like, this really is like heartwarming for me, because almost every part of my life was connected to sport. I was very lucky. I played sport my whole life, and I felt like sport is, especially whether actually I'll take my word back, whether it's individual or team effort, it's irrelevant, because even if it is individual, you're still an individual amongst the team. You're never really on your own. That coach has got maybe 4 or 5 individual athletes. You become friends with them. They become your competitors. You start building that confidence. And what's beautiful about it is, no matter like where you are in your childhood, no matter how down you feel or how happy you feel, that 1 hour, 2 hours of the day is essentially almost the best part of your day. You get there, you're excited, you get to prove yourself, you want to get better, you want to like learn maybe a new skill, or whatever the case may be. So I think that's also a great confidence booster in terms of, hey man, listen, this kid's giving me X, Y, and Z, you know, but I'll show him on the football pitch, you know. He's maybe a striker, you're a defender, or vice versa. You get there, and that guy then all of a sudden has respect for you. He's like, hey, this guy's serious. You know, he's really good at this. Or, you know, he's working really hard. And then, like, all of a sudden, that foe or that enemy becomes your buddy, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, there's these, like, little moments in life, especially as a kid, where you need to learn to almost grow that thick skin that we were talking about. A lot of the times, that opposing person that is, I almost want to say, not angry or against you, he's also got problems. His skin is also thin. So his only way to act upon it is one of 2 ways. Either be an asshole, you know, or be a friend.
Yeah.
And sometimes that like polar opposite, like you enter there, and that's his one way of like imposing himself, like, hey man, I'm the man. And you get there, you don't know what you're going to go through. And then the dividing line is on the football pitch. You get there and it's like, boom. It's I love it.
That's very true. And look, at the end, when you look at humans, like they need an outlet for everything. You know, you need an exit. So you have a pressure, so maybe you get it out by anger on someone, or you get it out by doing sports. You know, so it depends on exactly your character, your personality, and at the same time, you know, your upbringing and your parents. So luckily, for my case, it was sports. So I managed to get a lot of that energy there. And luckily as well that you got few skills, you know, that you can use or you can show to someone that, okay, so you're cool, you know, you can get there. So, and you made me realize sports had 2 big intros in my life. So one of them is to fit in with this transition. And another one is to, you know, recover from illness. So I don't want to jump into few years later, but in my early 20s, I experienced some illness. It was very unexpected. It was something that is immune disorder, which is basically you don't know exactly what's happening at all, nothing. And at this level, my life was all about sports. I'm a very person that is into, you know, routine and taking care of myself and everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, you go to hospital and Like you expose yourself or get experience like something that you never saw before. And later on, part of my recovery was just like getting back to sports and seeing myself like developing and just building myself and building my strength. And once I felt like this can go away, you get this shot like your health, your wealth. You actually, we were talking before coming in about properties and stuff. You can own properties, you can own nice watches, cars, but at the end, the only and the best thing that you will ever own in your life is just your health, your body. So along the way, you get the lesson. You learn the lesson, and I keep thinking about this a lot. And one of the reasons why I actually do sports or why I started into this is the longevity. It's never been for me something that I want to look good or I want to be ripped or I want to be strong. Never been an aim for me. It's just longevity. Me being able to walk with you, run with you, take the stairs, like basic things, which is basic movements. And that's why I'm always a big fan for functional movements, because it's just things that keep me well and just enjoy my life. That's it. It's part of it. Just enjoy your life, I'm not like an athlete that I want to go to competitions. This is not my thing, It's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for longevity. And yeah, so sports been playing a big role into this part.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was the opposite. I did everything for competition. My whole life has been a competition. I took nothing lightly. Zero. I went to all boys school so that I had no external factors. The school only played frickin' 3 different sports, and all 3 of them they were like world class at international level. So I chose rugby, all boys school. Like,
that's a tough environment.
I'll be honest with you. Fuck education.
That's
fuck everyone. My family. I lived in a what do you call it? What's the what's the word? Like I stayed there.
Okay.
Hostel.
Yeah.
I was in a hostel. So I lived there. I ate there. I played rugby there. Repeat. Just so you talk about another thing. This having the not repetition, but super disciplined, right? Like you wake up at a certain time, you train at a certain time, you eat at a certain time, you go to school at a certain time, sport, sleep, repeat. And that cycle I did for 8 years, just every single day, just to get to the top. And after that, went to university, did the same thing, scholarship, everything, great, happy days. Till I got injured. I get injured, and my whole life's like, poof. Sitting there, I'm like, fuck, man, what do I do now? Like, I didn't focus on my studies. I didn't make sure that I have good grades. Like, I was just, hey, man, let that pass. Don't worry, I'm going to be a rugby player, I'm going to be a pro athlete, And that's when that, like, massive realization came in where I was like, oh, wait, I can't do this forever. Like, I can't be a pro, and this was young, man. I was like 19 years old. I'm like, I can't do this forever. And even if I do, like you say, I do it for like 5 or 6 years. Rugby's not a high gross paying sport. It's not like football where you can get paid £1 million a week. I'm like, what am I doing?
But rugby is the biggest thing in South Africa.
Oh, it's massive,
like
bro. It's massive. And look, it's become more of a professional sport over the last, I'd say, 12 years. So athletes are getting paid very well now. But I'm already, like, I don't believe I'm old. I mean, at 32, I'm young, as a human. As a rugby player at 32, you're like, you're 2 years away from retirement. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, your window is so short because it's like American football. The impact to injury is so aggressive. You've got legit, depending what position you play, you got 8 years. So you got 2 World Cups if you're lucky. So it's like, it's a very short window to play with. So at this young age, I snap my shit. I'm like, man, God damn it. Anyway, get fixed up. And that's like, you were talking about longevity. That's like where that hit me. I was like, oh, 19. Like, how am I going to look when I'm 40, 50 years old, you know? So like training methodology, since then, I mean, I went into CrossFit and got a little bit carried away in my like 2015 and 16 in indoor, got a bit carried away with that. Then I snapped my shit again. And that's when I was like, no.
You never learn.
No. Well, you know, being competitive, there's a fine line. There is really a fine line. And I think you never know where that boundary is until something happens. Like, I always use the example, like, you know, if someone has injured themselves severely by how long they warm up. Go into the gym, you find someone that's like foam rolling, then's on the bands, and then, you know, doing some like rotational exercises and flow movements. You're like, you've hurt yourself. Like, why are you doing that? Because most people come in, they do a couple of shoulder rotations, neck twist, touch your toes, let's go. 40, 60, 80, you know, they're like slapping plates 20s at a time. But I think what I'm getting to is this key factor of longevity is as a human being, we don't actually think about that. And then you use your prime years to excel, which you should do, whether it's sport, work, environment, education. Like, of course, use your prime years to elevate yourself. But often people don't think about the back end. And especially when it comes to health, the back end is the most important. You know, people talk about money, like, oh, save your money till you're 60, right? My opinion is save your body, you know, so that when you're 60, you can still enjoy it. Because most people go and they retire at 60 years old and they sit on an armchair. 5 years later, they pass away. Because they've worked their whole life on an 8 to 5, on a bench, didn't train, ate like shit. Now they got all the money in the bank. What do? Eventually, how do you enjoy it? You can't hike. You can't, I would say you can't take trips, but you can't actually do active things. So, like, my philosophy is, of course, save, but save your body too. Like, when you get to 60 years old, you still want to be that young, fresh, you know, functional person that can run the 5K and do the F45 class or the CrossFit class, whatever it is, you know, the functional classes. So you can pick up your grandkids, you can take them to go play sport, kick the ball around with them. Like, these things are so critical. Like that hit me at very young.
I love this because I personally have a theory based on my life experience into this. So every one of us get that body, you know, based on your genetics, whatever it is. And you have your prime years, as you say. And those prime years, you really don't feel everything. So in terms of, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're still performing. If you're not eating well, you're still performing. If you are, you know, trying other things in life, smoking, everything, you're still performing.
Absolutely.
So you're still going to be on a good level of performance, but you don't feel what you're doing to your body. So basically, everything that you do in your prime, it has a huge impact later on.
Snowball effect.
Exactly. So I see people like, and I remember even myself, but because I had this lesson, so when I got sick in my early 20s, so I had to follow a certain routine in life. And I'm 38 at the moment.
Those mangoes, bro. I
So
don't know what
those
genetics
mangoes,
you
I
get in.
was slicing them, putting on my skin. So, and this is usually an advice where I share it with the people that are around me and close to me, is like, what defines you is actually the decision that you make when everything is going well. When everything is going well, you should take decisions, you know? Not when everything is collapsing, you start to take decisions. So not because I'm sick, you start to get decision like, you know, you follow a diet or you work out. No, when you are actually healthy, you have to make decisions like, okay, I need to make a plan to excel in this or like keep this, put it in my routine. So every one of us, when he gets this prime years, whatever you do on like in these years has a huge impact back to longevity, like into this. And you can start, of course, at any point, but anything that you do, it has an impact. And when you say this, it just like come across my mind. And a lot of time, like, you know, you reflect at everything that happens to you. And then the close friends, we know when we open up and talk, they will say like, you always need to find, you know, the lesson in everything you come across. And when I look at the lesson, one of the lessons that I had in life is basically, oh, okay, so those decisions or what happened, it was actually good for the longevity part. I would never do this. I would never like follow like Cam. I used to really take care of what I'm eating and everything. And it's like everyone was like out trying everything. I was just like, I have my meal, bro.
Yeah.
So at the end, it's you say Alhamdulillah, which is, thanks God. Like, you go to this, path, but then it can turn to be, a lesson that either it will help you or you have to pass it forward to someone else that can actually use it and improve his or her life. So
your early development, where you were in this small town and you had a military father, I really believe that as you got older, by having those instilled things from a childhood in terms of being disciplined, having your hours set out, always being very thorough with what you're doing, that's probably also what played a massive factor when this illness essentially happened. Because when you took action, you were so to the book that it propelled you to get out of it and become a healthier person. And 99, don't judge me on these figures, but for me, 99% of people out there, especially in this day and age, they don't have self-discipline. Myself included. Everyone's human. You make I wouldn't say it's not a mistake. You fall off the beaten path, And I always use this as an example. Like, you work your ass off for 7 months, okay? From January to July, strict diet, chicken and rice, walking the stairs. Fuck, God knows why you do that, but you do that for like an hour every day. You got your vigorous program worked out. You look amazing, bro. You go to Greece for 3 weeks. You come back looking like an Oompa Loompa, But like, my question is always like, why would you go through all of that to get there and then just like reverse the cycle of like that 7 months of work? And then it's going to take you another month or two to like, you're still in holiday mood. So you come back, you're still vibing, still have the ice cream, you have your McDonald's every second day, whatever the case may be. And you look again, you're 2 months in, and you're back at square one, if not worse. And then you repeat that process all over again. Where, like you said, if you were there, you worked your 7 months, you look amazing, like that's the time to make the decision, when it's good to go, hey, wait, I'm good, man. I feel good, I look good. Let's maintain. Because you can still do all the fun stuff. You just need to make small adapted decisions. Like, just don't eat a freaking burger 3 times a day. Have the burger and then the chicken salad, and then, you know what, if you went a little bit crazy on some dessert, don't have dinner. All right? Because you made the decision, I always use, we're now going down this rabbit hole, so I'm going to finish off. I always use calories as my bank account. All right? So if I've got X, okay, I can spend it all. I can go and splurge, but then at the end of the month, I've got to be eating crackers. So I treat my calories like I do my bank account. Like, okay, well, if you get a salary every month, you schedule out how much money you have for groceries, for your car, for your rent. It's the same with your calories. You spread it out over the week. Some weekends, someone's birthday, or there's an activity that you're gonna go to, so you've got to spend less so you can spend more here. And you play the game. You don't have to always be super level. And like where people make the biggest mistake is they try and do things perfect, and then they have one splurge. And then they have one splurge, they're like, I messed it up. I'm done. And then they just keep splurging. Boom, 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 boom. And then they, like 2-3 weeks later, they go back. All right, now we've got to be strict again. No, man, you can splurge. It's, it's not one line. Like, you can play around with it. And I think it's the same with training too. People work so hard and they train, they push themselves to the limit. After 2 weeks, their body's sore, they're tired, they haven't maybe slept well. And then it's like, oh, you know what? Fuck this, I'm not going to the gym. All this hard work. Or, this is the worst one I've seen, is where they train so hard, man, for 4 weeks, and they go onto the scale and they've only lost like 500 grams. It's like, what am I doing this for? But they don't realize that all these little incremental benefits, Because at the end of the day, the body's not a machine. It's a biological clock. You don't know nobody knows when it's the right time to weigh. They'll just tell you, do it fasted. Because that metric is the easiest to weigh on. Because then we know you haven't had any water, you haven't had any food, so it's the closest balanced metric. But at the end of the day, you could go in tomorrow and you could be 2 kilos down. But just that one day, looking at that number changed your whole decision. You go back to, let's call it relapsing.
Yeah.
I think it's also easier said than done when you are used to being in a rigid mindset and you're trying to explain to someone, look, if you just do these baby steps over time, you're going to get better. Because also, another interesting thing is 6 months is not long. Even for injury, like, you get injured, like, oh man, I've got to do this for 6 months. Really? 6 months? You're on this earth for like 80 years. You know what I mean? Like, dedicate yourself. 6 months. Give it the best crack you can. And you know what? After 6 months, if it doesn't work, you still got your other 35 years, buddy. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But for them, in that moment, not for them, for everybody actually, in that moment, 6 months is like, when is this going to end? But yet we can sit and watch a series. I can binge a series. 10 seasons I can binge in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's this tug and war in your brain on what's important. And if you're not going to forget about fitness, if you're not going to make health important, and it's a mental decision you have to make. If you're not going to make that like a priority, it's very tough to convince someone to actually follow that line.
Yeah. And I remember I come across this a lot. Like, people would say, we want to go to the gym. I just need to have, this looks. Summer is coming. I need the summer body. I think that you come across this a lot as well. And I'm a believer in, if you chase physical looks in anything, you're a loser. You're not a winner. So you have to scratch the surface. And if we talk about fitness, so if you want to hunt down this physical looks, at the end, if you are not building a routine, it will go away, as you say. Like, you focus 6 months, you go on one trip, you're out. Same thing even for human. Like, even if you are selecting a partner, for example, if you're having a partner, if you go for the physical looks, at the point, it just, it get logged, So it takes much more than the physical look in life to have something for a longer term. And in fitness, I'm a big believer for it. People would say, I need 6 packs. It's like, you just need a routine. You don't need the 6 packs. Because at the end, you just do the right thing for a duration, you reach there. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you do it when you are, not really feeling well. You do it when you are like not really motivated. You doing when you are motivated. You doing where you are, you have it as part of your DNA. And this, once you crack this one, because I see a lot of people, honestly, and close friends. And one of the things that made me like into, sports and start like to post things about it and so on is at least I have, if I can, an influence on my circle to just start doing sports, to be active. And I get very happy when I like people that I know, just like, or even like I don't know, like text me, it's like, I want to start. And I like this. Okay, so you're talking to someone is good, And I might like, would recommend if you need like a very good personal trainer, like I would even recommend, I would give you some advices. But my advice is like, if you are only looking for the physical, I'm telling you it's not gonna work. Bro, it's not gonna work. You need to have and search in that motivation inside you just to have something for a longer period of time. and make it part of your DNA. So I completely agree with you on what you say on this. And I know that you have a lot of stories about it. You've been coaching people, and you you get across people that someone who is just want to lift heavier, and this is just the goal. Someone that want to lift heavier but in a good form. It's there in life. Ego can get you there, or like the fast track and the looks and how I'm look like strong, and it also can get you there. It's at the end you don't need to prove anything to
Have
anybody.
you seen that guy on Instagram? He wears like a cleaner suit, like a blue suit. Like the
Cleaner, yeah,
cleaner,
yeah.
right, in the gym, and you see like these jack dudes lifting weights, and it's like, and then he comes up and he's like, "Is this fake?"
Yeah.
And then he just picks it up like it's nothing, and you see these guys' eyes. They're like, "Oh, how?
Yeah.
How's this possible?" When
Yeah,
you were talking, that just reminded me of that, because what you were saying is it could not be more true, because at the end of the day, aesthetics is like art, okay? What you like, what I like, could be two totally different things. We could have a painting against the wall, and I'll be like, man, that looks like shit. And you turn around and you go, bro, that is the stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff right there. I'm willing to give all the money for that. So as soon as something is based on visual appearance, and there's no numerical metric to what you want to achieve, I feel there's the problem. Because at the end of the day, what made you fall in love with getting a six-pack, as an example? You saw it on a magazine, or on social media, or on TV, which means you have already imprinted a specific visual in your brain. So when you get your six-pack, you're still not going to be happy. Because instead of 6, you want 8. And then you want 12. Because there's always going to be someone more genetically gifted or enhanced, and you're going to end up always being negative towards yourself, which to me is, I don't know if that is the best way for actually looking after yourself and being happy within.
100%.
So if you actually put a statistic or a number on what you want to achieve, as an example, like I lay it out, I've said this before on this podcast, every single client I've ever coached in my life, the first question that comes out of my mouth is, what sport do you play? And almost always it's nothing. And then that's where the conversation starts. Okay, well, what sport do you want to play? Well, I really like football. Okay, cool. Do you have any family or friends that play football? Yeah, loads. Most of them have their own little football pitch. Okay, great. When are you starting? What do you mean? I'm like, well, this is what we're going to work towards. We're not working towards your fat loss. We're not going to work towards you getting bigger biceps. We're going to work towards you becoming fit to play that 5 or 7-a-side of football. Or example, paddle. Name the sport. It's irrelevant. That's what we're going to start with. Because once you choose the sport, the training's easy, because you know that you're actually going to train for the sport. If you've never been brought up in a gym environment, you're not going to like it. There might be that one or two that's like, oh, okay, this is pretty fun. Chest press, etc., whatever the case may be. Everybody wants a big upper body. But 99% of the time, people get to the gym and they're like, it's not fun for me. So to try and encourage someone to come into the gym and do dumbbell curls or back squats, it's not easy, because they'll come for a week and they're not going to see results. Not now, because it's incremental. But if you give them a sport platform to be able to perform on, and then they train towards that sport, that's where the beauty happens. Because within a week or two, they can already feel, hey man, I played an extra 10, 15 minutes today. Or I played an extra game of paddle. I wasn't that tired, And that's where the beauty comes in, because then your aesthetics is a byproduct of your effort. So the harder you work, the better you're going to look.
Yeah.
And CrossFit, okay, that's now a sport on its own. Most people will enter CrossFit, but that's still what catches them. It's not so much, okay, of course, some people, that guy's super jacked, I want to look like him.
Yeah.
But after a week, They don't give a shit about how you look. They want to know, how did you do that muscle up?
Yeah.
What's that thing called? What, snatch? How do you do that? So the manipulation keeps you in the gym, not because of how you look. It's because all the skills that you can perform. Handstand walk, man, I really want to learn how to do that. You can squat on one leg, that's insane. Double skips, you know? But these are amazing tools to keep you there. Because in the essence of learning and having, again, this numerical factor, I believe that's what keeps people in the gym. F45, or even, name a functional class. It's always numbers based. How many did you do in 45 seconds?
Yeah.
5? Man, I got 6. Okay, there's a bit of cheating involved sometimes, you know. You know how it is. It gets competitive. But that sporting aspect is what's keeping them there. And then as soon as they start losing weight, it's like, hey, man, you got to try F45, or you got to try Alter Ego, or name it.
Yeah.
Name it, you know. Try the functional class. It's amazing. Look how good I look. You know, that guy doesn't actually really care about that anymore. All he cares about is he wants to get better.
Skills. Yeah. And one thing I'm sure you apply as well, because I come across when I started to read about fitness, and it was not many years ago, just like I think I started 4 years ago. Fitness coach is not someone that, you know, write down your workouts. I think an actual fitness coach is much deeper than that. And I'm sure you apply this, because I even had this interaction with you before. If you remember, you were preparing us for Phoenix.
Yes.
And I was like, you know, observing, you know, how you talk and make everything like, you know, clear, and mentally, you know, plan every one of us, like, this is what you do. And, you know, not with the pressure, just like to give you this helicopter view, as they say. So being in a fitness coach is not only like working on the physical part again, it's mentally. So you work mentally with your client or with that person that you want to enhance, just to get them on that track, regardless of like, you know, what is the program, this is what we're gonna lift. No, as you say, like, I might just spend time talking to them, you know, to get to know more about the person. Maybe I get the motivators, you know. And then I related this to, I had, in a certain part of my life, I had some psychometric analysis studies. It's called the DISC model. The DISC model is a psychometric analysis about profiling. So now when I talk to you, I can, you know, I know that, okay, so he's a DI. You know, it's in the DISC model world, is like someone that is dominant, driven, achiever, things like this. But at the same time, he's an influencer. He's someone that like can, you know, be there, be presentable, be out doing this podcast. Is the same thing, is related. So you get somehow, of course, you need to do like, you know, some questionnaire and stuff like this, but with experience, you can just like come across it and know exactly the person's profile. And then they teach you, okay, so if I have someone that is DI or CI, or whatever is the letter, how can you motivate them? Because what motivates you might not motivate me at all. Same thing for your clients, you know. Maybe someone can get motivated by, you know, just giving them like, oh, you did very well today. Someone is like, no, might be motivated with something else completely. You can apply this on everything in life. Everyone has different motivators. And if I am trying to motivate you with the wrong buttons, it's not going to work. It will never going to work.
It could trigger you to actually be opposed. Like teaching.
Like teaching, exactly.
You always remember, you always actually remember the teachers that were there for you. You know, they were, I almost want to say, wholesome. And this is going to go a little bit deeper into a different conversation. I'm not going to try and branch off too hard, but I had this chat with Mike about it. And it was about, even it goes as deep as selecting your subjects in high school. So, like, as an example, I never took accounting in high school. Not because I don't like accounting. It's because I hated my teacher. Like, I didn't want to do another 4 years with this guy. Man, I'm going to choose something else. I'll go into biology. I didn't even like biology, but I did it, you know?
Yeah.
And this profiling that you're talking about, like, I think education, whether it's training, fitness coach, whether it's a lecturer, whether it's a kindergarten teacher, like the art of, I almost want to say listening, is sometimes lost, because us as humans, we're so fixated on ourselves that we forget it's not about you. When it comes to teaching, it's not about you. It's about the person that you're coaching or teaching. Like I have this, again, when it comes to training, and there's a few branched off topics. So let's say, forget about the average human being. We're just talking about someone that wants to do CrossFit. So the evolution is you come into a CrossFit class, you actually start enjoying it. Now you want to evolve. You realize that after a year of doing CrossFit, you don't have to go on your own, but for you to develop, sometimes you need more output. So where do they go? They'll go to a CrossFit coach, they'll do an online program, etc., etc. And I have this thing that I always tell them, like, my program's not the best program in the world. They're like, what are you talking about? How can you be so negative? I'm like, dude, if you go onto Google now and you just type in CrossFit program month, and you do that for a month, and you keep doing that for 3 to 4 months, you're going to get better. You're 100% going to get better, because you're going to follow a percentage. You're going to do the workouts, and you're going to keep repeating that. So you're going to get stronger. You're going to get fitter. This is not what we're here for. A lot of people are here for that program. Program works no matter what. I was watching this, just to align quickly, I was watching this documentary. It's called Sprint on Netflix. All right?
Yeah.
And the coach made a comment, and he's like, we're not here to teach people to run faster. They already run fast. That's why they're here. They're already super fast. All we teaching them is minor details to become the 1%. Everyone is on the same playing field. Everybody runs a sub 10. We're just here to make the fine adjustments to make you the best in the world. And I think I think that's got to do with listening. You have to understand what the person wants, Now, a lot of times, teachers, coaches, lecturers make the mistake by trying to be, almost want to say, you're selfish because you're thinking about yourself. You're on that coaching panel, or you're on that lecturer stand, and you want to feel great. But actually, you're there to feed information out to other people to excel. So there's this fine line between do my workouts, you'll get better. Just come jump in on a training session with me, you'll get better. Then actually taking the time, let someone do a workout, let them give you feedback. What was your percentage? How did you feel? What was your effort level? Where did you suffer? Why do you think you suffered there? Do you do this exercise often? Don't you? And all these little variables you can intertwine, and you can actually give so much better feedback just by listening. That's all you need to do. And I feel like 99% of the time, people don't do that, because everyone's egotistical, man. You want to be the best. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't, everybody wants to grow. If you don't, okay, maybe we're probably not friends, because I feel like, man, we need to grow. We need to excel, we need to get better, and learning is one of those tools to grow. And you either learn in a classroom or through life. Because life is also the classroom, like you said. I mean, bust my shit open. Okay, fine. Now I need to stop. You have a health scare. I need to do this. These life lessons, they all around us, bro. And I think sometimes just being a little bit selfless and listening and really learning that person to try and help them goes a long way. And it takes just as long as actually the polar opposite, being someone that's like, no, just follow my program. Don't worry, bro. You just follow what I do. You're going to be golden, man. You know what I mean? It's the same effort level.
Yeah.
The one is just a little bit more composed. You're actually paying attention. And the opposite one is you're living in your own head.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally agree with you. And as you say, programs are there everywhere, and you can just have them, and you can have the best programs. But if you don't have that person, or if you don't have that mentality, it's not going to work, And to be fair, I'm also a big believer in having the best knowledge does not make you successful.
No.
It takes much more than that. So how you deliver this knowledge, if we're going to talk about coaching, is what makes you special. You know what I mean? So, and combining this to how you it requires different kind of studies as well. Like not only, you know, being in fitness, like, you know, okay, so I know that I'll motivate this person, I'll motivate that person with that way, you know, for them to have the mindset to build this DNA of being committed or being, you know, consistent with having a certain routine in life. Can be fitness, watching out what you eat, whatever it is. It is the hardest part, you know? So life teaches.
Because I mean, training's 1 hour of the day. Well, let's say you enjoy training, so you train 2 hours a day. What are you doing the other 22 hours, bro?
Yeah.
You know?
So I hope that I can train for 2 hours. I don't do this. So as you know, I have a corporate job. So, and it is the, you know, biggest priority for me. So it takes around nine and a half hours, I would say. And then, so I start like at 7:30 in the morning, 8 sometimes around that. I finish like 5:30. I try to rush for a class, just to attend a class, 1 hour. Okay. And then I go back home. What I want to do is just to, you know, sit in my couch, eat, watch something light, like nothing, like something that just doesn't get my attention, just something just to be there on the TV. Sometimes
Noise.
I just like go out. But I also like reading. So I might sometimes just like, okay, let me just have this 40 minutes. Just, I'm going to read a couple of pages and end my day like this. Sometimes I go out as well. So what I'm trying to add is through my weekends, I want to like shift this. So I want to like put more into health and fitness. So I do like a little bit of recovery, reading about fitness, just like going to workout, like team workouts. I enjoy them. So I try to do the balance, and I always like, you know, look, as you said about the calories as well, like, okay, so in my week, I want to train that, you know, these hours. So I might not, like, for example, today I didn't work out, you know, but khalas, it is what it is. But tomorrow I will make it up, you know what I mean? And then in the weekend, I will try to increase the duration that I spend within workouts. So it's like, I feel good, you know, I feel like, okay, so I did what I should be doing, you know? So yeah, so job, work, try to work out a little bit, and then the social part. So sometimes like with friends, you know, talk to family, like things like that.
I wanted to ask you, what made you want to push health and wellness on social media? I know we spoke about you playing sport. We spoke about your illness that you had at a younger age. But as you were getting older, you've obviously transitioned from football into daily fitness routines, looking more at a longevity aspect in terms of keeping yourself healthy, watching what you eat, etc. Which these are the daily staples. But especially coming from an office job, I'd love to know what made you decide, you know what, nah, you know what, I need to, I want to help people. I want to give people this opportunity to, you know, hear what I have to say.
Yeah. Okay, so luckily I have a good circle of friends. So they were like, you know, follow me, and like, you know, I like to post workouts or take videos. The main reason for it is I like to watch it later to correct myself. That's the main purpose for it.
Amazing.
And adding on that, it's a memory. So when I look back in my, you know, album, so you see like pictures 10 years ago, it was like, oh my God, this is how I looked. This is how I moved. You know what I mean? So
100%.
So I just enjoy this. It's I think at certain part in life, I would just be sitting somewhere just watching, you know, you go through either you share it with someone, maybe like my kids, my grandkids, whatever it is, or maybe like just with me, just I'm watching it. You know what I mean? So I like to take videos. So
essentially it's like a timeline.
it's a timeline.
Yeah.
So I used to take videos anyways and take pictures. And then came the platform many years ago. I was like, okay, so I used to post about it. And then I started to get like comments, you motivate me. Oh my God, I wish to do this. where do you work out? You know, you start to get it from my own circle. And then it's like, okay. Then later on, it came somehow like, okay, why not just to, you know, to open it and just to post more about it. So I increased the reach and I increased, like, you know, if you want to watch, you can. If you don't want to watch, you can. You know what I mean? So
it's the beauty about social media.
exactly.
Right?
So then it started and I was like, okay, let me just, you know, see how it is. And it's good. Like, I think one of the good perks in life, which is you have someone coming to you and say, you motivated me today to go work out. It gives you a different feeling, you know? So it's that, you know, thing that you feel like, okay, I actually did something valuable today. I did something to a human being today. You know what I mean? And it's gets back to you in life. And I'm a big believer in this karma and things that you do for other people, like to follow a certain thing or to motivate them to do something good. It comes back to you somehow. And at the same time, and it's funny, Cam, is when you start to post, you actually get it also in your routine that you go work out because you want to actually, you know, record
100%.
another video. So you want to actually put it there. So sometimes you feel like, okay, you know what? Let me just go and work out. I will have a video. I want to post it. So you actually do this. So it helped me as well.
Of course, it's a byproduct of your routine.
Yes.
Because if you want to keep your daily stories moving and your daily posts moving, you need to take the video, right?
Exactly.
So essentially, you're using that video also to own up on yourself. Say, hey, I need to get to the gym because I need to do this.
Yeah.
And I need to show, you know, my friend group or the people that follow me exactly what I've done today. And hopefully that's going to motivate them to also do the same thing and go to that gym or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
When I look at your social media, I mean, I've been following you for years, and there was like a really big decisional change that happened. It was like, for me, I noticed it probably about, I almost want to say like a year ago, a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh, wait, he's onto something. Like, and I'll be honest with you, it was refreshing to see, because even though the internet is massive, I feel like sometimes people get judged on things that they do, and then they get put into a box like, oh, why are you trying to teach people this? Why are you trying to do that? Hey, listen, do whatever the fuck you want, man. All right, we're in a free space, in a free world, and at the end of the day, what makes, I feel, your content quite special is the fact that it's just honest content, and there's one main characteristic about it, and that is the fact that it's all about health and wellness. And it's, from what I like, the feeling I get from it when I see it, which is amazing, is the fact that here you've got someone that is dedicating himself to, now that we've spoken, to longevity, to being able to like live a very fulfilling, functional life. And if you could change one person on one post, on one story, then that's the blessing. That's the nugget, you know? And it's crazy, man, because like so often people are so quick to judge, and it's like, wait, just chill. Like, actually understand what he's trying to do. And it was special. And as soon as it happened, I think I even texted you, I was like, bro, you just keep going, because I could see where it was going. And I was like, man, this is really cool, because often I feel like, again, titles are sometimes, you were just talking about it, like that being titled as something doesn't give you the authority to be the only person to do it. You know, the only time that becomes serious is if you want to try and teach rocket science. but we're talking about a very broad and I just want to say like open. It's a very open discussion, because at the end of the day, biology is probably the most. It's excessively researched, but nobody understands the key. Yeah. Because what works for you might not work for me. But if everyone could just talk about it, you know, like saunas, ice baths, recovery protocols, training methodologies, nutrition, Man, name it. Like, there's so many different variables that could work. Eating paleo,
Yeah.
going vegan, carnivore. Like, there's all these little elements. And if we had more people like yourself actually just not telling you what to do, just expressing what I do. And if you want to try it, come check it out. It's worked for me. Come try it out, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to watch, and the I almost want to say like the involving ball, that's the snowball that you're working on. It's great. It's great to see.
Thank you so much for this. Like, it means a lot that it comes from you, and then that you like the content, and and I know that you've been always supportive. Like, I get always messages from you, encouraging me to continue. I like this a lot. And as you say, many times I get as well, like, people, I'm sure that people think like, okay, why are you doing this? Sometimes, like, who are you in fitness? You can sense it in some people, but at the same time, people would judge you anyways. And again, you don't need to be the best person in something to start to share and talk about it. It doesn't work like that. It works like you can know something and talk about it. I don't need to be the best in fitness and, like, have all, like, everything. No, I know some knowledge. I have some practices in life, and I'm happy to share it. If you want to look into it and learn something from it, great. If you don't want, skip. No problem at all. You know what I mean? But the engagement that I get from the people and from the circle around me, it's good, and I see it. Like, I get very happy when I know someone is like, I didn't want to work out today, and I come across your content, and I went to, and I get this, and it's super nice. And I'm sure you heard a lot about this, like, you changed my life, you did this. It feels so nice that you're doing something for human beings, and I don't need anything in return. You're just doing it like this.
That's the fulfillment.
That's very good. So I'm been very honestly blessed with this, and I'm trying to work on my content. I'm trying to share something useful for people in the health and wellness. I wanna get bigger and bigger into it, and hopefully one day it will just go even, like, bigger, and I can contribute to the community in a bigger scale as well. And I would love to do this. Yeah,
I'm sure it will happen, bro.
Inshallah.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's like anything that you work on, just as hard as you work on your own health and wellness. I think there's a principle to life that is like there's a basic common denominator for everything in life, whether it's your health, whether it's work. I mean, just name the factor, and that is just repetitions. You got to just keep going.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you stop. And when you stop, you set yourself back, and then when you have to start again, you know how hard it took you to get there, and that's where that little mind game gets played. So at the end of the day, just keep going. Just do the reps, you know? And like anything, it's never ever going to be perfect, man. There's these like little roller coasters, and sometimes you try stuff, it doesn't work. It's also okay, Nobody's perfect. It's insane that people think that you have to stay in your lane. Like, it's insane to have that mindset,
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, no, try it. Why not? And you're never too late to learn either. Like, it's okay to make a mistake. If you do something, it doesn't work out. Okay, sweet, guys, listen, hey, you know what? I take my words back. It's not that great, but maybe it works for you. I'm onto something else, Who knows? In 3 years from now, maybe it's not CrossFit anymore. Maybe it's something different, Because also, like, as you age, your maturity is going to push you into a direction where you want to go. So, and that's cool. Just because you said you were a CrossFit addict 5 years ago doesn't mean you still have to be that person. That's where people often make the mistake.
Yeah.
Is like, after 10 years, they're like, oh, I'm still the fittest guy. And nah, bro, it's okay. People evolve. It's good. Just keep preaching the center core. And that is what's your value. If you keep preaching that, you're good, man.
Yeah.
And you let those reps will follow.
I remember when I started CrossFit 2019. Okay. And I get introduced to CrossFit back in 2014. I remember. My friend came to me and was like, Bebli, you need to do CrossFit. I was like, no. I don't want to get injured. I was like, you know, I'm happy with what I have. Because at that time I used to like, you know, I go to the gym, but I play a lot of football, I run, I have good cardio thing. Like I'm happy, you know? My body shape is good. Like I didn't need anything. You know, I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. And then I moved and I came here to Doha. I came here to Doha like 2017. And then I had two friends. They kept on calling me, Bebli, you have to do CrossFit. I was like, no. And then one day I was like, okay, there was an introduction, you know, the introduction session. So I went and I remember I get asked this question. Why did you join CrossFit? And I was like, I don't want to join this. I was like, okay, I wanted to do a ring muscle up. That's why I came here. Funny fact, that same day, I did a ring muscle up. And then I went back. I didn't come back for 6 months. And then my friends called me back. It's like, Bebli, you need to just like, you know, come in. So I was like, I started to go. And it's very funny when I look at these videos now, it looked terrible. Like I look at the, you know, how did I lift or like how it looks like, or like, oh my God. And at that time, I used to think like, okay, I'm in a good shape. So then I started 2019. I was like in and out, in and out. It was end of 2019. Then Corona happened. When Corona happened, there was, you know, at my gym at that time, they used to rent the equipment. So I had that friend who used to nag in my ears all the time, do CrossFit. He was like, he called me, bro, let's get equipments, let's have it, and then we work out together. So he's a strong guy. So at that time, like when I do, like, for example, dumbbells, I would never go for 22.5. I would never just do this, you know? But when we rented, we had certain equipments based on him. So he pushed me during this period. So I used to have the whole gym in my balcony. And then we used to go every day. We bring everything down to the Tower Kids area and do the setup. And I remember he was telling me like, we're just gonna do the 22.5. We're just gonna go there. And Cam, I learned everything and I developed a lot. I didn't do handstand push-up. I didn't do double unders. I didn't do like most of the things. I didn't do them. During this Corona time, it was me and him just being consistent and working out. For me, I developed a lot. And then once everything opened back and I went back to the gym, I was like, boom, everyone was like, what's happening? What did Corona do to you? I was like, and I loved it. I used to stay I remember waking up. It's also a blessing to wake up and then you have a rower in your balcony, you know? So I wake up to a 5K and it feels so good. So here when I started to get hooked somehow, and then I learned this lesson, which is fitness is not only your running thing. It is the spectrum of different kind of movements and varieties that you can do. And that's why I liked myself starting CrossFit because I learned a lot of movements that my body is not used to it. And then I developed myself. And now I can say like, yeah, I'm capable of doing these things. I still love functional movements, but I also enjoy some gymnastic movements. It's great. Like your brain somehow work in a like get used more into your body. And then when you study and see like how neurons connected to your nervous system and the stronger the connection is to your muscle, the better quality of life that you have. You only learn this by doing new movements. So I enjoyed this. And then since then I was like, okay, let me be consistent with this sport. And here I am, like I'm very, content. And I'm alhamdulillah, when I look at myself, I was like, I'm able to do movements. This is what I enjoy. You tell me, you come one day, Babli, let's do this. I will do with you. We might have different, weights. I don't mind this. But I still can, do this. Same thing when I have someone who's like, but I don't want to work out with you because your weights is maybe higher than me. He will say this, or like, you've been doing this for, no, just come do the effort, enjoy the journey, laugh. That's it,
For sure. I mean, CrossFit's very diverse. The movements are very diverse. So you're always constantly evolving. And every year a new movement comes out. Like I mean, just let's use the skipping rope. You know,
Yeah.
you think, oh, you just skip. No, double, triple,
Cross.
crossover, double crossover. I mean, what's next?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I mean, we got to stop at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is that there's always this evolvement in functional fitness. So, and then once you've learned everything, it's how well could you do it under fatigue?
Yeah.
What if I chucked in a rower and then said, okay, do as many as you can, or I chucked in a barbell, or I already made your shoulders tired before you go to handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
So the diversity and the amount of variables that you can add in, that's what makes it obviously interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me, I wanted to also ask you, in terms of this lovely T-shirt that you got me from Brand X.
It looks good on you.
It does,
by the
bro.
way. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna steal this. I've said this now twice. I'm stealing this. Abdullah, if you can hear me, we're taking away the logo, bro. We're just gonna keep it clean. I love it. I love it.
I'm glad that you like it. Yeah.
How did you get involved?
So, okay. So, you know, I've been into health and fitness, and I have a friend of mine. He's running Brand X. He called me before he even starts. Babli, I am planning to have this. I want you with me. At that time, I used to grow into this, like in the social media and so on. So you get approached by, you know, many people.
Of course.
But at the same time, back to this, you work with people you like. You do business with people you like. You know? I'm talking about, again, back to longevity or like long term. You always pick that person who you actually feel comfortable with. And that person I actually, you know, feel comfortable with. He's actually
Shout out.
Shout out to Mohammed. Yeah. So I said, okay. I didn't ask any questions at all. But because I know this person and we met, so I know he has a vision. I'm a person who likes to give me a vision, give me someone that can execute well, and you have, I'm on board, you know? So started with this. Then I was also blessed to have the whole first trial with with the food, the packaging, get the introduction and everything, and I loved it. And then when I get deeper into it, I realize it's not only food, is also in health and fitness. So you have the nutrition part is only one part of it, but it's not everything, because they have the contracting part where you do playground, you can do tennis courts, paddle, running tracks, basketball courts, everything. So it's also related to sports. And there's also something coming at the end of this year related to fitness. So this is me. You know, this is something that I want to have the influence for it, and I want to be part of it. And trust goes both ways. So we were very much aligned, and since then we're just like, you know, running there.
That's amazing. Did you try any food brands or companies here? Please don't mention any of them. But
Yeah.
did you try this food distribution products before actually testing Brand X's products?
Yes. So, and it started again back to, you know, the Corona time and everything. So I used to have a meal plan coming, and you have a lot in Doha, and at the end
It's actually quite saturated, to be honest.
It's very saturated.
Yeah. I didn't realize, I mean, sorry, I'm cutting you off here. The reason why I'm asking you this is because it's a big part of my life. Like almost every single client of mine, I don't know if they don't like their cooks or if they just like they don't want to ask them to weigh their food for them. Because 99% of the time I'm like, bro, just WhatsApp him. Like, you know, simple. Just tell him to weigh the food. But yeah, they don't like going that route, and they find that the convenience of actually having these food distribution companies where they can jump on an app, eat what they want to eat for the day based on what is supposedly their caloric and macro intake. Yes. And I've had fights with at least 5 companies. And it's not that I'm opposed to it. and this is why I'm getting to my question, is the fact that I've never ever actually had a food distribution company that can deliver the same food consistently without fucking up the macros. Honestly, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they're just in it for the distribution part, so they're just flooding out the product. And I understand it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. This is not it's quite a complex thing to be able. You got to anything with food is difficult.
It's difficult.
So I understand that part, but I mean, again, I've tried so many companies, and I've had this chat before where the inconsistency of it is where the problem for me lies. And I'm not asking you to be perfect either. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm asking. But when you go, this meal's got 180 grams of protein in it, I don't even think most people know what 180 grams of protein is. 180 grams of chicken, I understand. We're talking 180 grams of protein. So at the same time, like there's sometimes there is this little, I don't know if it's like a fine line, if it's too, they're trying to keep it vague. But anyway, at the end of the day, I haven't really found a very consistent one. And I was wondering if you've actually had that type of an experience. So like when you correlate with the people from brand X by testing it, you have that feedback of like, hey, that yin and yang approach.
Yeah. So again, there is two type of people in this spectrum. There is one person like you that is very meticulous, really looks into everything, and he has the knowledge. There is someone else that he's coming from a very far place. He used to eat junk, all day,
Absolutely.
all night. He just need to be on a track.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what is the track. He just need to be on a track. So you have these two type of people, right? Usually you get developed by having interaction with your type of people that can develop the business. And luckily, the people that we have in the kitchen, they are like this. So I am a person that is not like you at all. Like, I'm happy with what I'm having. I know maybe I have like some differences, but it's good for me. It's fine. But the kitchen will like come and say, no, we have to take care of this. We have to increase this for you. We have to do this for you. You know what I mean? So I would say all the companies are good. But then at the end, you pick what is best for you in terms of the whole experience. So food quality is something that I really care about. So even if you're going to give me like the right intake and everything is like on the scale, but the food quality is not good, I thank you so much. I don't want it. So for me, what I appreciate is a food quality. And that's why we might be actually spending much more than other companies in food quality. And you will realize it in what you eat. So that's something for me that, okay, it's important. Then the calorie intake and the scale and everything is, we get feedback, which is everything is good. I've been waiting the food. Everything is good. And I was like, why are you waiting your food, bro? Like, we just wrote everything there. From someone else would come and say, guys, this is not really the stats that you're saying on the package. I've been waiting this. And then we do the investigation, of course. And sometimes we can be wrong. Most of the time we are right. So running a food, as you say, is very difficult process. Running a kitchen is very difficult process. But the team that works there, like, really not there for the business, because this is not the main business stake for them. It's just getting this environment for people just to be healthy around it. But this is not the main thing. You know what I mean? So they really do it to make something good out of it. It's not like I'm doing it because it's the main money that I'm getting out of it. And it's a huge difference, and that's why I get connected, and that's why I'm liking it. You get my point?
That is...
Maybe one day I invite you to have, full meal, and then, you hey, try it yourself.
Of course, anytime. You're going to get an honest review. That's for sure. That was beautiful. You convinced me, I'll be honest. I think that at the end of the day, you hit some really good nuggets there. And the one thing that stands out is the fact that a lot of it is done with love, because if something is not your main breadwinner, then why are you doing it? there needs to be a love for something, and that love is obviously trying to drive the community to be healthy, trying to get everybody into a state where they can be consistent with their food. And the second nugget is the quality. You're 100% correct.
It's important.
And at the end of the day, the fact that you're getting a wholesome meal that the average person doesn't have to worry about. You know, he reads the label, he eats the food, he feels good. You know, he's got his daily intake, he wakes up the next morning, he repeats it. The process of getting to the goal that he wants is just so much more easy. You know, it's just an easier process. And at the end of the day, again, with humans, if you can eliminate certain, let's call them stresses, like cooking your food, drinking your 3 liters of water, if you can just put it out there in front of them, so they've got their training program, they've got their eating plan, the rest is now just their sleep and stress.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're already halfway there. You're already winning the race.
And by the way, we were having a discussion, like me and the team, and we want to add this layer as well. And again, the objective was not the money out of it. The objective is building this community. So we wanted to look into something that we can bring this awareness about like sleep and recovery and workouts and things to it, because you taking this step. So there is different reason why you go for a meal plan. Either you really want to take this step to a healthy lifestyle that includes only food, which is good luck, you're on the track. Or maybe you are there because you really want to change your life. You want to just add the fitness, pillar of it, the recovery, you need to know more. So I want to also get these people on the track, not to go back. Maybe you're using the meal plan at the moment. Maybe your wife is very happy about you and they will start to cook for you and then you're happy. So, okay, so leave that away, but I want you to continue. And funny fact, like just today, I had a very close friend of mine. She texted me and she was like, "Baby, I want to start a meal plan. And I really want to ask you for an honest opinion about Brand X." They're like, I'm not going to tell you like opinion about Brand X. You have to try other places. But what I can tell you is, and I sent her a picture, I'm using them. I am actually eating there. Why would I eat there if it's only business? I eat there. So you just, when you really do something with love, and you said this word as well, it doesn't matter. Like you really like, you are irrational about something. And we were like, for me, when I work in corporates, that we were always, when I work with people that work in branding, they would say, if we can transform someone from rational to irrational decision maker, this is where you crack the deal for someone to sell him something. Because I am not with you because you are, let's say, the best price in the market. It's not like this. I'm not with you because you are like having, let's say, like a huge variety of foods or whatever it is. I'm irrationally picking you because it's a combination of a lot of things that I like, from packaging, quality, treatment, interactions, and everything. And it happens once you start to deal with, from the first welcome call or the nutritionist and so on, you feel this part. So working in corporate teach you a lot as well.
Absolutely, man. No, absolutely. I mean, I've told this guy that I'm gonna do a shout out to him because he asked me about nutrition plans. He's one of the few that I that I work with. So shout out to Abdullah. He's on Brand X. I can't give his last name because then half the world's gonna be texting him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he started with Brand X about, I want to say, a month and a half ago, and I told him, look, try it out. You tell me. I was honest. I said, look, I haven't tried it, but I can tell you the other 5 that I have tried that you shouldn't try. So let's give this one a go. And he loves it. He loves it.
So happy to hear that.
He is content. He loves the app interface. We sat and we played with it. He asked me his opinion because there's a selection of foods that you can choose, and you see the macro count on each. So I took a look at it. I was like, wait, it looks great. It feels, the look and feel is great. And the actual product, he's content, very content. So we'll see now after the second month. And the nice thing about why this client, I'm happy that he's tried it, is because he's not looking to lose weight,
Okay.
which is quite a little special. It's not your average
Yes.
person that's there. Okay, I want to lose 10 kilos or 5 kilos. It's not about weight loss for him. He's just looking for a convenient meal to eat in the week, because sometimes he forgets to eat. He wants to pick up a bit of muscle, so it's actually like, to me, I find sometimes that's more challenging. And I know it sounds contradicting, like, but to pick up muscle is not an easy task. It takes years, So, we'll see. We'll see where this develops, and I'm excited to see also on his performance. We're going to try and, I wouldn't say measure everything, but we're going to take it on a month-to-month basis and see how he performs out of it. So
that sounds good.
Yeah, man.
I think Abdullah will reach somewhere.
Yeah.
Like having you as
I'm sure
his coach and picking also Brand X as his main meal supplier. So I think it's already a good track. It's a very good track.
Yeah, let's see where it goes, man. Well, bro, it was lovely having you on, yeah? And we finally made it. We finally made it. I'm so happy that we...
2 months we've
yeah,
been trying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we got to do it. And we'll run it back. If there's any... Oh, I wanted to ask you, are you doing Phoenix this year?
That's a very good question. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to skip it because I didn't skip any Phoenix like the previous 3. They had 3.
This is the 4th edition.
This is the 4th edition. So I don't want to skip it. So I want to be part of it anyways. Either I will be competing or maybe something around like Phoenix, as a competition. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. But
all right, great.
I love Phoenix. I love Phoenix. It's amazing.
Well, as long as you're part of the journey, that's the most important. So whether you come in as an athlete or you come in as an organizer, media, whatever the case may be, I'm sure they'll love to have you on there.
That would be amazing.
And anyway, when Phoenix comes closer to time, I believe it's September, we can run it back. We can chat about it, work and see where your head's at.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And when I look at myself, and we're gonna keep this, if we're gonna do something before Phoenix, like the evolution that you get to yourself when you participate in competitions is insane. And I have them on video, so I watch every time as well, back to videos. So that would be cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll run it back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bubbly.
Thank you so much, Cam. Thank you for having me. It was amazing. My first podcast, and I really enjoyed it.
Dude, you rocked it, bro.
Yeah, you are like smooth. You know exactly where you ask. You make it very,
All right. Well,
so it's a therapy for me, and I love it.
Sweet, bro.
Thank you. Wow. That was
great.
That was really good.
It was almost 2 hours.
Wow. I didn't feel that.
That's why I say it's tough to. If you look at. Oh fuck yeah. If you look at breaking it down, like trying to get those nuggets out.